Well, it was a sweep. No surprises there. South Carolina defeating Kentucky. Don Staley picked up a $75,000 bonus as the coach.
Turn that volume up. You know you want it. It's time for Women's Basketball TV. With former NCAA champion, WNBA champion, business mogul, and national TV personality. Let's get it.
Not gonna lie, this was a hard game to watch. Third quarter, and neither team had broken the 40-point barrier late. I don't even know if I stopped looking at the score because it was in the 30s in the third quarter. But anyway, not a great game to watch offensively, but some really good defense happening for both teams at various times in the game. I just think Colorado had a difficult time scoring, and I don't know that it was all of UCLA's defense. I just didn't see anybody who could score. We know Sherrod, that's not her thing. She's a defender. She's a transition player, great leader, but we really saw the Colorado get exposed offensively. I mean, people penetrating, not shooting, people penetrating, kicking it out to three-point shooters who really were kind of cold all night. I didn't get it. I didn't get the offensive plan for Colorado, especially when they were not taking or hitting outside shots. You got to do something else. I'm not sure that UCLA could actually guard them off the bounce. They never really cut off the baseline a whole lot. They didn't cut off the dribble drive a whole lot. So why aren't you shooting the mid-range? On the other end, UCLA, I thought, did a great job of mixing it up, given that Lauren Betts wasn't having a great game. She pretty much was facilitating from a passing standpoint most of the game. Didn't do a whole lot. Charisma Osborne, baller. Know she's going to be top pick. Not as in number one pick, but she's going to be a high pick, draft pick in the WNBA. She has a really nice game. Long range, knocked down a big three that Colorado let her inbound the ball and step right in and take a three. I didn't get any of that. So a lot of missed defensive assignments, a lot of kind of just checking out mentally, things that didn't happen for Colorado at the end. And wasn't a good outing for them. I thought UCLA looked, they looked good in some places. I mean, it was still like a sub 50-point game as I'm looking at it before they kind of broke it open a little bit toward the end. But what I liked about UCLA and what I can always count on with Corey Close teams is that she's going to run some great offensive sets to give people good looks. So some give and goes, some on-ball rejections, some on-ball screens where people dishonored them and did some really nice things off the bounce. I just thought UCLA played a little harder down the stretch and played a little smarter down the stretch. Hey, it's Fran Harris, the author of Houston by Morning, the first novel set in the world of the WNBA. It's about an amazing WNBA rookie, her sometimes shady agent, her coach, and yes, the rising broadcaster who's covering the league. Pick it up right now on Amazon.com, whether you want the ebook, the paperback, the hardcover, or even Audible. Just pick it up right now, Houston by Morning, and let me know what you think about it. And now back to the show. Man, Colorado's on a skid, losing. We're supposed to be in the top 16, and now possibly will fall out depending on what happens in the last few games. I'm actually thinking about going to Vegas for the... It's weird. I was sitting here when the Pac-12 commercial came up and they said Vegas, the Pac-12 tournament at the whatever is going to be in Vegas. I started looking up flights. I'm like, I might go to that. I like what's happening in the Pac-12 this year. I like that it started off being UCLA, USC, Stanford, and then it got a little rocky. People start losing. People start upsetting teams. And I like where it is right now because you still don't quite know who's going to do what. And then you got to add the tournament, the Pac-12 tournament, the actual tournament, not just the end of the regular season, to the mix to see who does what they do in Vegas from March 6th to the 10th, I believe. But tonight, UCLA showed us some things. They kind of gave us a glimpse of what we might see heading into the playoffs. Y'all remember UCLA was like at one point either number 2, maybe they went to number 1 one week, I can't remember, but they were top 4 for a lot of the beginning of the season, right up there with South Carolina and some other teams that were number one. Iowa was number one, I think, a couple of times. So they are a team to be reckoned with, and they are one of the teams that, as I said at the beginning of this season, I like their style of play. I like that they can play in the half court and up tempo in transition and really break you down off the dribble. But more importantly, I just think Close is a good offensive coach. She knows how to get a shot. And what I'm starting to see as we wind down the season from a lot of teams is that when it's time to get a shot and you got to have a set play, you got to have a set action, we see who the offensive coaches are. And Corey Close, that's one of her strengths. That's one of the things, I mean, even maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago when I believe Texas, I may have been on staff at Texas and we were playing UCLA a couple of times, either 2 years in a row or a year and then skipped a year and played them again. They just tore us up offensively because they're so good in their sets. So at any rate, tonight was kind of scary for Colorado, who didn't look like they had an offensive player on the floor. They started going inside. Let me find her name. They started going inside a little bit and were successful there, and then they stopped doing it. I don't know why. I don't know why teams do that. It's working. They can't guard you inside. You know, the flip side, as I said, was that Lauren Betts was not having a great game. So leverage the fact that she's not having a great game. Take it to her. When she's out of the game, go inside. And Colorado did that a few times, and they were successful. Either drew the foul or the and one or got the bucket. So I didn't understand why they went away from that at all. But definitely saw where Colorado has some vulnerabilities. That mid-range shot, the outside shot, yeah, none of that was there today, and it was evidenced by the low scoring. Now, where Colorado really had themselves the advantage was in their transition game. That's what Jalen Sherrod gives them, is the ability to go from coast to coast in like 4 seconds, 3 or 4 seconds. And when she did that in transition, they were successful. Either got the foul or straight up just great passing for a layup. But for some reason, they stopped doing that. And then there were a couple of possessions where Colorado had shot clock violations. Nobody's paying attention. Nobody's shooting. Nobody's looking to shoot. Yeah, I just didn't think it showed that Colorado didn't have a go-to plan for offense. They didn't have a player who could go get a shot versus UCLA, who has Rice, who has Osborne, who has some decoys and some of the bigs who could set great on-ball picks and then roll to the basket. Yeah, but offense to me, even though it was a low-scoring game, it came down to who was more decisive and precise on the offensive end of the floor. So anyway, that's that. Let's take a look real quickly at some key stats. Field goals for Colorado, 16 of 56. That's a abysmal shooting percentage at 28.6. Not a whole lot better, but certainly got better toward the end of the game for UCLA. 20 of 48 for 41%. 3-pointers, about even. 5 of 17, 5 of 16. 3-point percentage, 29% for Colorado, 31% for UCLA. Free throws, who got to about even. 8 of 10 for Colorado, 8 of 11. 80% for Colorado, 72%. The story of the game for me is in the battle of the boards. And we saw a lot of that for UCLA. 44 boards total, 16 offensive, 28 defensive, 29 for Colorado, 14 and 15. Assists, everything else fairly even. Blocks, obviously, UCLA with height advantage. Also the block advantage, 9 blocks to their 5 to Colorado's 5. Colorado had 15 steals. So they were, I said that earlier, they were playing some defense. They just weren't converting always. 21 turnovers for UCLA. I would love to see the points off turnover, but that's not offered here in this great little summary. But anyway, there's a look at that. I'll leave that up for a second if you want to look at that. The total game situation, 15 fouls, personal fouls, and 9 for UCLA. Again, every coach in America will tell you the team that rebounds is always going to have the advantage, and that's a sizable advantage, 44 to 29. UCLA a winner in this one, 53 to 45.
Thanks for tuning in to Women's Basketball TV with Fran Harris, the most provocative and entertaining women's basketball show on earth. Be sure to click that like, share and notification button so you don't miss a moment. We'll see you tomorrow.